actually. I think he is.
This one stars James Franco and John Lithgow as a Alzheimer's patient who is why James Franco is working with the apes.
His dad.
His dad is, so he's trying to create a drug to regrow the brain to make it smarter. So he's giving it to apes, and they're getting smarter. And there's a horrible mishap, and he ends up raising one of the smart apes' children, who happens to be even smarter than the mother.
Who's born after the mother had the treatment of the drug.
The mother's given a treatment, she's killed, and so then he's stuck with this baby that grows up, and he treats it like a child, just raises it, and for, 5 years?
Yeah.
About 5 years he grows, and this ape is smarter than him almost, So eventually, it gets out that he has an ape, and he has to put him into the sanctuary, and he gets to the sanctuary where he then learns the rules of the apes, and then realizes his true place in the world as a slave to humans. So he starts the uprising. There you go.
With his ape prisoner pals.
Yeah, his ape prisoner pals who he has to get smarter. This was a good movie. It's a good sci-fi movie. I don't know, a lot of CGI, but really well done acting CGI, I guess. I think that's what everybody raves about this movie.
The motion capture.
The motion capture of all the apes and stuff is, when these apes, they look really mad, It's really well done stuff. James Franco, I'm sure there's a better role out there for him, but, some people just know people, and they get these roles. But, he was in it. John Lithgow, I love always, so I don't care what he does now. He's just awesome. I don't remember who the girl love interest is.
Freida Pinto from Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog.
Yeah, she was also kind of played a equally thankless role in The Immortals.
Oh, Immortals. Remind me of that crap. I don't have much to say about this movie. It's a sci-fi. It's a prequel. So it's got everything that you have to have that Hollywood loves most. You got the love interest, you got some conflict. Throw in a bunch of special effects. As for a prequel to the planet, it's a good one. I think they really thought it out and said, okay, this is how the apes are gonna take over. Because seriously, when you're watching Planet of the Apes, you're like, how the crap do apes get up there? And that they had that lore and stuff from the I don't remember if they called him. I don't remember they calling him something different in the other thing. I remember
calling the human something else.
No, the super religious ape played by Vin Rames, or the guy that looks like Vin Rames.
Oh, you're still talking about the Tim Burton one.
Yeah, the Tim Burton one.
I don't know. I've only seen that movie once.
Oh, okay, I know. I remember I think they kept calling him Zemos, and he's Caesar in this one. So
actually, I don't think this has any connection with the Tim Burton one. I think the Tim Burton one is sort of superseded because most people, especially Apes fans, find that movie to be really obnoxious and terrible. But I think this one has more connection with the original. 5 films are made in the late 60s and the 70s. I really like this movie. What grade would you give that?
Oh, yeah. No, I give this one a C+-ish.
C+-ish? Okay. I give it a solid B. I think as a fan of the original Apes films, I think that this one is serviceable. It's not quite as smart as those movies. I mean, if you watch those old things, they're really campy and they're really silly, and the makeup effects are
they're dated.
I mean, they were great at the time, but not quite so much now. But they were actually really smart movies. If you actually watch them and pay attention to the plots and stuff like that, there's a lot of political commentary that was in all of those movies. And I don't think that this new one is really as concerned with those kind of ideas as those ones were.
Yeah.
But instead what you have basically is a really well thought out and conscientious character study of this main ape, which is played by Andy Serkis, who's doing the motion capture performance, who also did King Kong and Golem. He's kind of the motion capture movie star at the moment. It's sort of what he's become famous for. And there's even some talk about him maybe getting a possible Oscar nomination for this if they could reconcile how to nominate a motion capture performance. And I'm not big into motion capture. Like, you know, Tintin just came out, and I went and saw that and was kind of underwhelmed by it because I feel like motion capture, you lose a lot of emotion in that. But I think with animals and things like that, it seems to work really well. And I think Andy Serkis's Caesar is a really good performance. You know, motion capture or not, it is a really good performance. And he's the best performance of the movie. I think most of the human actors are actually mediocre to terrible.
Yeah.
We have what's
Malfoy.
his face? Yeah, Draco Malfoy in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
terrible bad guy.
There's a few lines in there that he gives that almost ruins the whole thing. I think James Franco, he's phoning it in.
Yeah.
Although it's always a little fun to watch him phone it in because it's so obvious that he's phoning it in, especially when you know he could be really good when you've seen him in 127 Hours or Howl or the stuff he cares about. So when he does big Hollywood films, it's almost sort of humorous how much he doesn't care. John Lithgow, I thought his performance was all right, but I think he's kind of playing a cliche, the father who's losing his mind, and now he plays the piano and he stops playing the piano.
Yeah, what did we just see that had the same thing? That was a chick flick. The Friends with Benefits.
Oh,
the same thing. Yeah, I mean the dads are
pretty much the same idea.
Alzheimer's is done, people. Move on, find a new disease.
Well, it worked for the plot though, as far as getting these apes or an explanation as to why they become so smart, and I think that. For long extended periods of the movie, when I really started to see it as being something more than just your average typical blockbuster prequel, there's these big scenes where Caesar is in the compound with the other prisoned apes, and there's like whole conversations that are going on. There's some subtitles as far as like what they're thinking or whatever, but for the most part, there's whole conversations and plans and actions that are being done without any dialogue. And it's almost working in like a silent film sort of way, where everything's being shown instead of told. And I thought that there was some really good filmmaking going on there. So I think it was probably the sleeper hit of the summer. I didn't think anyone really expected.